Hello, my name's Toby, and one of my favorite genres of YouTube has always been commentary, or, favorite genres in general. It's always something that I've loved watching, even if the topic isn't something that I'm even remotely interested in. It's always really just been interesting to me. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. Commentary about commentary. Commentary YouTubers themselves. I'd like to first talk about what I'd call the starter Pokemon of commentary YouTubers. Guess who I'm about to say? Danny Gonzalez, Drew Gooden, and Curtis Connor. You could also switch these guys out for whoever you started first watching when you got into commentary. Could have been Cody Ko, Travis Johnson, or Chad. But in my life, those three guys have caused this video if we really look at the domino effect of everything. So I'm going to be talking about them first. Danny Gonzalez. He was probably the first commentary channel that I ever started watching, and his first video that I could probably recall is his, first Troom video, which was, by the way, 5 years ago. Crazy to think about. It's weird, But he's probably the only reason why I knew back then about the rather questionable people like the Dobry brothers. His videos were the start to me really just enjoying hearing people talk about things. Domino effect, he's the one that made me kind of want to start this channel. Not really, but if we look at the domino effect of watching YouTube to making commentary videos myself, he had a bit of a role in this, He was the first one I ever started watching, so he's got a pretty special place in my heart. Drew Gooden was the second ingredient to the disaster I call inspiration. What I really enjoy about his content is how monotone his voice is very monotone, but he's still quite expressive with his reactions to things, and that's something I really like about his work. And I think I'm like that a lot too, so he's probably got something to do with my personality. I like the way he'll get very deep into topics that he's very passionate about, and yet somehow drop a one-liner and a joke into it, and it won't break the immersion of him still being very passionate about this. And I think that's what really draws me in. He can be so passionate and deep into a topic and yet still somehow make it lighthearted and fun. And I think the best video I'd have to say this works in is his video, The Future of TV is Bleak. He speaks in a very expressive way because he's passionate about this kind of stuff. He's passionate about the writing strikes and whatnot. I don't know much about the topic, I'm sorry. But he'll talk so expressively about this topic, and then he'll drop just the most deadpan joke after it, and it still works. It doesn't bring you out of that immersion of passion. And I love that. He makes what could be a very depressing topic something that's still fun to listen to and still fun to slightly joke about, or listen to with a smile instead of a teary-eyed gaze, I also enjoy how he'll verbally destroy someone and be completely deadpan about it. I love that. Curtis Connor. Now I'll have to admit, I'm not the average watch every video Curtis fan. My sister, however, did go to one of his shows, live shows. Am I jealous? Yeah, I am, kind of, yeah. But that's besides the point. Curtis is what I'd call the goofiest, the quirkiest, out of all three. The trilogy, the trifecta. He's the one for the ADHD goers. If you can't pay attention for 5 seconds, Curtis is there jingling keys to get you to really pay attention. And I think that's what works for me, if I'm being honest. I have ADHD, if you could not tell. And I think that is what keeps me watching his videos. He's also by far, I say this in a content sense, the most out of pocket I will go to his channel to see if he has any new videos, and it's a new video about the most odd topic you could have ever thought of or like come across. It makes you question, how did you come across this? Out of all people, how did you get there? What happened to make you make this video? And I think that's how Curtis's content not applies, but like advertises itself. You know, it's bright. His thumbnails are bright and colorful. At least I think so. You know, even with the weirdest of topics, he still keeps you entertained, and I think that's very impressive. And I think that's what appeals to him the most. But as much as I love these goofy guys, I still have some other people I want to shout out, because I'm not a 3 commentary kind of person. Jacob Geller is by far one of my favorite commentary channels. I'm not sure if it's commentary. I think he's very much video essays. So if you love video essays as much as you love commentary, I'd recommend him. He makes a lot of video essays on horror, like horror games and video games in general, and just deep topics, which I love. I love depressing things. But he'll go into these games in such detail and passion about what he's talking about. And he'll go into video games and talk about the deep themes in them and the undertones and the story. And I love that. As someone who doesn't play a lot of games, especially horror games, because I'm a wimp at them, you know, I love these games talking about the rich undertones of them and the meanings and themes. And it's made me appreciate a lot of things about games and horror games in general, and have made me interested in a lot of games themselves. Even if I don't play them or watch playthroughs on them, it still makes me very interested. Videos of his I'd have to recommend is Time Loop Nihilism, Art Restoration, and the biggest mod in Resident Evil history, and Why Do Horror Games Sound So Beautiful? There's so many more videos I'd highly recommend on his channel, but I'd rather you look through his channel instead and find topics that interest you. Dream Jelly is another YouTuber that I'd, again, highly recommend if you love 2000s nostalgia. They talk about many things that have to do with the 2000s, Y2K, all of that kind of stuff, which is something I enjoy. I wasn't really a tiny small child in the 2000s, but I have siblings and I got their things and it was a bit delayed, you know. But they talk about a lot of things regarding the 2000s, like I've said, and they have videos such as topics about old Wii U games or the World of Justice, the girls' clothing store from like, who knows, 2005 or something, and old Flash games. The last one I'd have to recommend is Chopo. I don't know how to pronounce their channel name. I'm so sorry. If you like the world of weird mascots and just weird history about video game characters, I'd have to highly recommend them. He talks about ways, and he talks about things very playfully, I think. In my head, it's very playful. He doesn't take it too seriously, but yet he takes the topics very seriously in a playful manner, if you get what I'm saying. He talks about so many things. I think it's impressive that he comes up with videos for them. And I'd love a peek into this guy's head. I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting. It's probably looks a lot like my head. Chopa has lots of videos on the history of Garfield and the weird versions of Monopoly exist, and how the game of life really just does not make sense, which I would have to highly agree with that. I don't know how it makes sense either, though I did really like the game. All of these guys' channels will be in the description for you to check out, and I'd highly recommend that. If you enjoyed or want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I love doing these types of videos, and it's fun for me to talk about these kind of things. And if you are still watching, why?